Welcome to GlobalMed Talks, the podcast where we embark on a journey through the world of medicine and beyond. I'm your host, Haider Ali, and I'm excited to be a guide as we explore a diverse range of topics, from sharing personal experiences to diving into medical stigmas, controversies, and beyond. In some episodes, I'll try to bring on guest speakers, I'll try to dissect hot button issues, and share practical tips for navigating both medical school and life. But we won't stop there. In addition to our in-depth discussions, we'll also sprinkle in some lighter topics, exploring random things about life, wellness, and everything in between. From the importance of self-care to the joys of a well-deserved study break, and we'll share anecdotes and advice to help you thrive on your own journey. And of course, what would a journey be without companions? Throughout our podcast series, we'll be joined by a diverse array of guest speakers, including fellow students, healthcare professionals, and experts from various fields. Their unique perspectives and insights will enrich our conversations and challenge us to think critically about the world around us. So whether you're a medical student embarking on your own odyssey, a seasoned healthcare professional looking for a fresh perspective, or simply someone curious about the fascinating world of medicine, GlobalMed Talks is your passport to exploration, enlightenment, and maybe even a few nuts along the way. Welcome aboard. So for this first episode, I thought I'd begin by introducing myself and a little bit about what my story is and how I got to where I am now and why I decided to start this podcast. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi, I'm Haider Ali, I'm 24 years old, and I'm a British Pakistani, meaning my parents moved from Pakistan to the UK when they were teenagers, and then a few years later, I was born and I was raised up in the UK. Currently, I'm a second-year medical student studying in the beautiful country of Georgia. And yeah, you heard me, the country and not the state. So I started this podcast to share my ideas and thoughts about being a student abroad, to improve my own communication skills, and to gain valuable insights and knowledge doing so. And even just some random interesting topics about life in general. So you're probably thinking, how is this guy 24 and still in the second year of uni? Did he do something prior to starting medical school, and does he already have any other qualifications? Well, yes and no. Let's go back to 2018. I was 18 and just fresh out of college. I got rejected from medical school, which is quite a common thing in the UK just because of how competitive it is to actually get in, which is something many people who never really looked into medicine really understand. It really is a challenge, even if you did have the grades. There's such a rigorous application process, which results in many students getting sent away to try again next year. So, as you can imagine, I was one of them. I remember when it dawned upon me after getting my A-level results that I had no chance of getting into medical school that year. I felt hopeless. I saw everyone open their results with happiness and joy. And then there was me, among others, that were just absolutely gobsmacked and distraught. The nightmares of not getting what I needed had come true, and suddenly I had to come to realize that the journey to medical school wasn't going to be a swift one. There were going to be many trials ahead, and this was just the beginning. After thinking long and hard on what to do, me and my family came to a decision that I was to apply via clearing to another course, which was similar to medicine. It was called the Masters of Physician Associate course, which was a 4-year undergraduate integrated master's course at UCLA. So I did the interview and I got in. I did 2 years there, which was the exact same as the first 2 years of the actual medicine degree. So I studied alongside medical students from all over the world, and it was arguably the best 2 years of my life. I had the opportunity to meet like-minded and amazing people, and I made some lifelong friends. After the 2 years, I decided to apply for medicine abroad. So I rang up a few agencies, and one agency called me back and they offered me a place to study in Ukraine. They said that I had a place in third year as a graduate entry student. Technically, I wasn't a graduate, but because of the 2 years I did in the UK as a physician associate, they allowed me to transfer my credits and allowed me to carry on. I'm going to get back to you on that. I felt so relieved, like I was finally in medical school. In Ukraine, once again, I met some amazing people, both locals and the students. Plus, it was the first time I left my country to study. So at first it was quite overwhelming, as you can imagine, but thankfully this feeling quickly went away and I started to enjoy my time abroad and started to embrace everything that came with it. Life was good. I mean, I became the president of a GP society and the goal of being a doctor I've always dreamed of being gradually began to materialize. And the light at the end of the tunnel just became larger and larger. Now, this didn't last long, unfortunately, and the plot takes a very sharp turn, and it was a turn that I was not expecting. Firstly, the war kicked off. So I knew I had to flee the country and transfer to another country. Then on top of that, news broke out that the GMC, the General Medical Council in the UK, they weren't allowing any students to enter medical school abroad as a graduate student. On top of that, the university got blacklisted by the GMC. So taking all these factors into mind, I had no other choice but to drop out of that medical school and just to start all over again from year one in a completely different medical school. I still remember the day when this all happened. It felt like someone had slapped me and ripped my heart out and then took away my voice box, and suddenly everything in my life just went dark. I felt like I had fallen off this tightrope of life, and this time there wasn't a ladder to bring me back up. I felt like this feeling. I feel like this feeling was shared amongst all of the students who were affected in Ukraine, and whoever was in the same position as me. And we had to do something. We had to make a decision, and but before that, we had to make sure our friends were okay. So for the next few weeks, everyone was just calling each other up, and we were just trying our best to give each other emotional support and advice. One particular friend of mine, Inam, shout out to Inam, amazing guy, very wise and kind, caring guy. I remember when we helped each other by these long calls that we used to do, trying to find the true meaning and purpose in life, and trying to make sense of what just happened and figuring out what we can do, because giving up was creeping on everyone's mind, even mine. And at one point, I was even having second thoughts of just going back to my physician associate course and just finishing that off. But I guess giving up wasn't even an option. We finally resolved the issue to a point where it no longer caused us that much stress, and it did allow us to approach the situation with the right mindset and perspective. It did enable us to handle it with a clear and focused mind. The main thing that helped us reach this point was mainly the teachings of Islam and Stoicism, and realizing that life isn't a rat race. People have their own timings, and we just cannot avoid the inevitable, which is that we're going to come across some major obstacles in our life that may knock us back a few years, and that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Then I remembered all the reasons why I wanted to pursue medicine in the first place. I remember the time my grandmother was getting treatment. I remember the conversations I had with a lovely old lady who lived down the street. Her name was Betty, rest in peace. And I remember the faces of the patients I had seen who had just been given good news or bad news. I remember the intense feelings of gratitude and sadness, of love, patience, of excitement, and stress, and of the feeling I personally got from helping others and using my skills and attitude to life to help make people feel better. And my uncle used to always say to me, keep moving forward, no holding back. And it's just such a profound reminder that holding back is the destroyer of dreams, and just to keep going, and it kind of reminds me of that Nike advert as well, of just do it. But you get what I mean. And he used to always say to me, in literally any opportunity he was given, So it was pretty much engraved into my soul and mind at this point. So with that in mind, and with the constant reflections and conversations with family and friends, I was ready to start again from year one in the beautiful country of Georgia. And honestly, so far so good. I'm not complaining. Currently approaching the end of my second year now, and I can honestly say that my passion has just grown. Plus, it's also given me the opportunity to grow and face new challenges and meet new people, um, which would eventually enable me to strengthen my skills needed to be a successful doctor. I really hope I get there one day. And if you're in medical school, I hope you reach your goals. And one day, I hope you reach your goals one day. Even if you're not in medical school and you have your own goals, I hope you find the strength to keep going, stick to the game, and don't lose hope. Because no matter how dark the tunnel is, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And with every hardship comes ease. Just remember that. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to reach out to me on social media or drop an email. Stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, keep exploring the world around you. This is Haider Ali signing off. Take care and see you again in the next episode.